Notre Dame checks in as the number 10 team in the first college football playoff rankings for the 2024 to 25 football season. I am Mike Singer. I run our recruiting and YouTube operation at blueandgold.com. And the handsome man next to me on the screen is Tim Hyde. Talks about football for us. And we have a big show talking about the college football playoff rankings. Going to give our initial reaction, breakdown, thoughts, everything in today's show. So this is a great show if you're watching live, you're watching back, you're listening to this via podcast. Going to be a jam-packed show with tons of information and takes. If you're listening to podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. And please write a review of why you enjoy the show if you do. And then if you're watching via YouTube, please hit the thumbs up on this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. So, Tim, we're going to go to just the rankings first, and then we'll go to the bracket, okay? For as much crap as I give that AP poll, especially after how Notre Dame dropped 2 spots in a bye week, it was pretty damn accurate. It was very, very similar. I think it was like, so I'll read out the college football playoff top 12, okay? In order: Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Miami, Texas, Penn State, Tennessee, Indiana, BYU. There's Notre Dame at number 10, Bama, Georgia. Actually, we'll go to 14, SMU, Texas A&M, LSU 15. The only differences in the top 10 between that and the AP poll was Ohio State and Georgia were flipped. That going from 1 to 17.
No, yeah, LSU. I'm looking at it now. LSU.
Oh, and Texas A&M were flipped.
Exactly. How the hell?
So good on. Well, again, I talked about this. The AP poll is, you have like 50 people and they vote, and it's just, whatever the numbers end up being. It's not like they're sitting in a room deciding LSU over A&M. So good on the CFP for putting A&M over LSU. But yeah, Tim. So Notre Dame at number 10. Do you like it?
That's what I predicted. So sure. Hey, I won $2. So there you go. Yeah, how do you get? That's where they should be. Let's be honest. It's funny. I've become the Timmy Hyde Analytics, my own formula, Mike. So I've taken like 7 things that are out there: the BCS, couple of the ESPN metrics, the this poll, that poll, all these little things. I just threw them all in a blender. And Notre Dame, when you add these 7 things I have, like the resume index, the strength of record, game control, which is a huge metric by the committee. 7 things I threw together. Guess what Notre Dame comes out as? 10. So the computers love them. Notre Dame's strength of schedule is atrocious. They're 75th. So Indiana, I know people say, well, Indiana's horrible. Exactly. They're 103. No doubt about it. But they're also undefeated. And my take, Mike, it's freaking Indiana. What the hell has Indiana ever done since Bob Knight left basketball? Nothing. So, this is their highest ranking since they went to the Rose Bowl in the 60s. I wasn't even alive, Mike. So that tells you how long it's been. So, hey, Indiana's Indiana. Give them a high five. They're smashing teams. Their lowest win is 2 touchdowns. So, they are what they are. And obviously they still have the Buckeyes, and I know they got the Wolverines. Real quick off this is, hey, Louisville, the highest ranked 3 loss. When I saw the Clemson, I started seeing Mizzou. As soon as I saw Mizzou, the Fighting Jack Sobels, I'm like, how the hell are they ranked? But I instantly thought Vandy was going to get in, and these guys were going to go SEC heavy. And Louisville, the only 3-loss team in there, is awesome.
Yeah.
So kudos to them for getting that. So that's huge for Notre Dame. 2 ranked wins in this poll. I know people like to count Navy. Once again, committee doesn't give a rat's ass what you did in September and October. They count ranked wins by the poll they generate. They don't care about down the road. It's this poll. They look at the poll they do. And Notre Dame, with obviously A&M and Louisville, is huge. Having up there. Indiana, 0. No, I mean, they have no ranked wins. BYU's got SMU. Penn State, 0. The thing that's keeping Penn State up there, I'll be honest, is the computers, man. The computers love Penn State. So just a quick thing. I got 22 more thoughts, but throw a few things out, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about Penn State. I have their schedule pulled up.
They're in the 20s, Mike. They're in the 20s, their schedule. So Notre Dame fans can't bitch about a schedule. That's just my humble opinion.
I know it's like it's solid, right? Beating at West Virginia, nice. Illinois, decent team, right? Illinois they just lost, right? So they're not ranked anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly. They have no ranked wins currently when we look at the rankings.
Beating at USC, at Wisconsin, and then you only lose to Ohio State at home by a touchdown. So it's like, but 6, I don't know. 6, it just seems high.
I'm telling you, in all of these analytics, my analytics blender, which is worthless, but it's just, once again, taking all of these metrics together, combing them up, they're 7th. So even with all that, their strength of schedule's in the 20s. So that, and Notre Dame 75th. Notre Dame 75th and Indiana 103. They're the 2 lowest ones in the playoffs. So I believe, correct?
So
I think I saw that.
What Notre Dame has going for them, like someone just said in the comments, Notre Dame's got the worst loss. So when you look at the top 15, right? Mm-hmm. Ohio State's loss was to Oregon. Ohio State's the number 2 team, right? You got Georgia lost to Bama. Miami undefeated. Texas lost to Georgia. Penn State lost to Ohio State. Then you get to Tennessee. They lost to Arkansas. But they beat Bama. It was like, Tennessee's got a bad loss, but
the conference road. It's a road conference game.
It's a lot different than NIU, right? Indiana undefeated, BYU's undefeated. Exactly. Bama's got 2 losses to Vandy and Tennessee, right? Yeah, Boise's lost to Oregon. SMU lost to BYU, and then A&M is lost. I am stunned that I'm remembering all this just off the dome. A&M lost to Notre Dame and LSU, and then LSU lost to USC and A&M?
A&M just got spanked by South Carolina. That's the other thing.
That's right. Yeah,
Notre Dame's best win is A&M, who just lost by 3+ touchdowns.
But then you get LSU, who just spanked Clemson. So that kind of, for me, that evened out, right? Louisville spanking Clemson.
I agree.
So Notre Dame continues to be on their schedule. The results, what do you do with such quality wins and such a horrible loss? I think 10 is fair, Tim.
Yes.
And I'll ask you this. You've always said you think Notre Dame is going to host.
Yes.
So looking at this, think there's a pretty good path for Notre Dame to get to that 8?
Yes. Again, yes. Tennessee's. I'll tell you what. It's going back, man. Studying all these data points all these guys have out there, which are awesome, man. It is so much fun to read all this stuff. Tennessee is going to be 10-2. Let's just assume they lose to Georgia. I'm just throwing that out there. I think it's in Athens, so let's just put an L next to it. So they're 10-2.
They go at Vanderbilt as well.
Yeah. Tennessee's defense is the best in the country. They are freakish. They're dominant. They're unbelievable on defense. So I think they'll take care of Vandy. But let's just assume they're 10-2. Is a 10-2 Tennessee with a loss and 2 in conference on the road to Arkansas and Georgia, is 10-2 better than an 11-1 Notre Dame fighting for that spot? You know what I mean? That's tough. Indiana's the key, obviously. Hey, nobody wants to root for Ohio State, but damn it, Ohio State beat the hell out of Indiana. Get their ass out of here.
November 23rd in Columbus. So
now, Indiana, me personally, I think they're in at 11-1. I do. I think the committee's going to set them up to where If they lose to the Bucknuts, they're going to be that 11th seed.
And then the Big Ten championship game, a rematch between Oregon and Ohio State. So actually, Tim, this might be the worst case scenario for Notre Dame. It's this. You got to root for Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
And listen, there's a path for Indiana to be 11-1 and Notre Dame still host for sure.
Yes,
but
because of their schedule. Their schedule, I mean, it's going to go up playing Michigan and obviously playing Ohio State. Their schedule is going to be bad.
And then Purdue, and then they'll smoke Purdue. So, But Michigan's one of those teams that like you just don't know what Michigan you're kind of going to get. Like they competed with Oregon.
Where is that game? Is it
at Indiana?
Oh, it's at IU. Okay.
So yeah, that's this Saturday, 3:30. So it's an interesting one, but yeah, Tennessee.
I'm telling you, the SEC is going to get 4. They're going to get 4. You got the 2. If Georgia still has Ole Miss, which by the way, Ole Miss sitting there they're the one team. When I was doing all the data, having some fun today during lunch, those dudes are everywhere. Ole Miss pops up in everything that's a top 10. So they're kicking themselves for, obviously. I mean, they never were losing against LSU until the last play of the game. Right. So they're kicking themselves for that game. Ole Miss is a damn good football team.
And they lost to Kentucky.
Right? Yeah, that's sitting there like, how the hell are we not in the top 5? So all of their numbers, everything says Ole Miss is a playoff team, but they still got to beat Georgia this week.
Here's the thing about Ole Miss. Wins over Furman, Middle Tennessee State, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Arkansas. So they haven't really gone through world beaters yet.
No, exactly.
But if they beat Georgia,
they're in. I mean,
then they get Florida and Mississippi State, who aren't, rocking the world on fire. So
they're going to be that 10-2. That 10-2 SEC team, 10-2 Tennessee, the LSU Bama winner. Me personally, whoever wins that game is in, because LSU has the tiebreaker over Ole Miss because they beat them. Obviously, whoever loses that game's out because it's their 3rd loss. You can tell the committee, all the numbers. Believe it or not, Alabama's a top 5 team when you look at just everything numbers wise. On the field, they haven't looked at, but that game in Baton Rouge is nuts, because the winner of that legitimately could get that 11 seed, that 11-10 seed. But for Notre Dame's right there, because everyone's expecting IU. Notre Dame's got to bump up with them, because at the end of the day, sure, their losses is way better than Notre Dame's. There's not a soul on earth that in this top 20, in this top 15, that's got an NIU loss. Nobody does. That's the thing. So, when you take all the let's just take all the 1-loss teams. This is what I was doing the other day, looking at all the schedules, which is fun. Take everyone's 1 loss away and just boom, that whole batch, they're all undefeated. Notre Dame's up there with anybody. And then as soon as you add the 1 loss, it's just like no one's got that. And your 1 loss is a 4-4 MAC team. It's not like they're 6-2 getting ready to win the MAC title down the road. Mike? It's
sure.
No, you're 4-4. You're not even going to go to a bowl. How the hell is that possible?
Yeah. When you're splitting hairs between teams and you have that on your resume, it's tough.
That's the kicker. That's why I've always said they're going to be 8. There's people that, they have a shot at 5. No way in hell. It's not happening, folks.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah. So, especially at this point of the season, there's just not that many losses for some of these teams to have. Like Indiana, it's like they're not going to lose the rest of. They're not going to drop down to 3 losses, right? You're not going to have a conference championship game. So like Indiana is likely in the college football playoff. So yeah, so
and that's why you need. We got to be Louisville fans. Let's be honest. We need them to finish 9-3. To just 9-3, they're a solid top 20 football team. A&M. A&M could finish 9-3. Let's say they lose to Texas. Obviously, we're going to be rooting high hell for them to beat the Longhorns in College Station. So you're looking at A&M, root for Louisville. You got 2 wins. Army is way low. I thought they would be a lot higher than where they're at, which tells me if Notre Dame beats them, they're going to drop out. But Does Army beat Navy back-to-back weeks, let's say, in the championship game? Actually, Navy just lost this past week. What the hell am I thinking? They're probably out. So if Army
Might
is
be
that
Memphis or
conference
something.
title, exactly. If Army is a conference champ at 11-1, 12-1, let's say, actually the Navy game is after the poll. So let's say they're 12-1. Army might be that 24-25 team. So Notre Dame could legitimately have 3 ranked wins in the final poll. So, which would be good for them. But and looking at this, looking at some of the losses we saw this last week with Clemson, I think the ACC is only going to get 1. I was set they were going to get 2 because of Clemson. They're gone. I don't see Miami and SMU in somehow. I think one of them would get knocked out because I think the committee is going to, because there's going to be some 10-2 SEC teams. The committee's going to get that 4th SEC 10-2 team in over an 11-2 ACC. You know what I mean? So I think same with the Big 12 with all those losses this week. The conference champ for the Big 12 is going to be in, and that's it.
I always loved, well, especially when I was younger and had less things going on in life, watching college basketball and watching bracketology and just listening to Jay Billis just like get so angry about how, 20-12 team got left out of the bracket of, or, the field of 68. It's just like, and now it's 12. It used to just be 2 teams. That was your tournament for the, the BCS. And now it is, you get 12 and there's still going to be some travesty. Tim, we got to switch gears real quick. 19 days ago, my daughter was born. And the next day, my wife says, "Hey, we got an Amazon package." I open the door. And thank God it wasn't Amazon. I was so happy, Tim. It was a box of Factor meals. And that was probably the best thing that could have been on my front door. I mean, I got these fresh meals that you can pop in the oven and they're all like the same. I think it's either $3.50 or $3.75 for 7 or 8 minutes. Boom, you're done. You don't have to prep nothing. It is good quality stuff. It's not frozen. And it's done in just a few minutes. I am a huge, huge fan of Factor. Their juices and smoothies were great as well. So Factor, if you're watching this, I love you. You really helped me and my family out for like a week and a half as we had your meal. So the days are shorter. Your to-do list isn't, though. So power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. From breakfast to dinner and everything in between, Factor has easy and nutritious options to keep you fueled and feeling your best, whether you like routine or you enjoy mixing things up. Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options. You can add to your box like keto cookies, pressed juices, the smoothies. I am telling you, I'm not a big breakfast person, so that right there is just incredible. Absolutely love their smoothies. Don't let shorter days slow you down. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Factor lets you do you. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Check this out, folks. Factor is cheaper than takeout and dining out. Put the money you save toward holiday shopping or reaching your financial goals. Folks, head to factormeals.com/BGI50 and use the code BGI50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. Again, folks, that is code BGI50 at factormeals.com/BGI50 and use the code BGI50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I am telling you, if you are a single, like I was thinking back to when I was a single guy, I needed this. You need this. It is good. The portions are really solid, protein, and you feel good after eating it. Tim, after I slammed, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention, other places, but in an ad read, but after I slammed Taco Bell, I don't feel great. After you eat Factor, you're going to feel great. Love it. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. We're going to move back into talking about the college football playoff rankings. Thank you very much, Factor, for sponsoring today's show. So before we look at we're looking at this ranking now and then projecting what it can be. Then we're going to look at the bracketology in a second. So let's look at these teams ahead of Penn State, or excuse me, ahead of Notre Dame.
Sure.
When you look at the top 5, they're likely all shoo-ins, right? Like all 5 of these teams, we're not really even looking for Notre Dame to jump any of those 5, right? It would be pretty unlikely.
Yeah, who the hell knows?
Okay.
I mean, there's so many
surprises, sure, but
hold on. The real quick one, Jay Carr said it in the chat, which is so dead on. It's like the SMU Miami ACC title game. If SMU wins, they're in. How does a 12-1 undefeated regular season, 12-1 Miami, how are they not in? So if you
they'll be in.
Exactly. So if you get 2 of those, that means the 4th team from the Big Ten, meaning Indiana, Alabama, or one of those 2 are going to be out.
Well, what would that mean for a Notre Dame?
It definitely means Notre Dame's going to get a home game. So that's that.
Would it?
Sure, it would, because you have no matter what, the ACC is getting a bye, right? They're getting a top 4. So I bet you if Miami lost something like that, they may drop down.
Yeah, but SMU's 8-1. But you would think Miami would be ranked over Notre Dame and SMU. Like that doesn't.
No. Well, if SMU wins the ACC title, SMU is the 4 seed. Or the 3 or the 4 seed. They're automatically a bye because they're conference champ.
Right.
Miami's going to drop down,
but still ahead of Notre Dame.
I don't think Notre Dame goes above 8. I don't think they will go above 8.
I agree.
The schedule is going to hold them back, and the NIU is going to hold them back. Their biggest thing is they need a 9-3 Louisville, and they need a 9-3, obviously 9-3 or 10-2 A&M. They'll stay ranked. So that's what they need. They got to boat race the hell out of Florida State and Virginia. By the way, SMU and Notre Dame have a lot of common teams. So they've played, obviously Louisville, they played the same. They each played Stanford. Notre Dame had a bigger game. SMU just beat Florida State. I think they won by 26. So Notre Dame's got to obviously beat them by more. And they both still have Virginia left. So they'll have some common opponents there. And their loss is only to who's now the current number 9 team in the country, BYU, on the road by 3. Yeah. So
it's interesting as we're talking about teams Notre Dame can jump. There are the Ole Miss and SMUs of the world that can jump Notre Dame.
I don't think Ole Miss will. I think the 4th. I think that 11 spot is going to the 4th SEC team.
I mean, Ole Miss at 7-2 with the opportunity to beat Georgia. Oh, you just talked about Tennessee being 10-2. Would they be ranked over Notre Dame? Ole Miss is the same spot. They would have a better win, though. It's possible. I'm saying Ole Miss could jump Notre Dame.
Okay. So then they're not going to be 5 SEC teams. So if Ole Miss beats Georgia, are you saying Georgia's out of the playoffs?
So is there not allowed to be 5?
You can have 5. So if you have 5, that means you're not going to have. That means there's only going to be 3 Big Ten, right? So someone's dropping out of this thing. So,
dude, yeah,
which is definitely possible. There's no doubt about that.
How would you leave out a 2-loss Ole Miss with a win over Georgia?
I don't think you do. I think
you know. That's what I'm saying.
Unless it's LSU who holds the tiebreaker over them, and LSU beats Alabama.
This is going to be tricky.
Alabama. LSU holds the tiebreaker over Ole Miss. Ole Miss will be the 5th. Whatchamacallit, the SEC team. So that's why this damn thing's going to 16, Mike. So who gives a damn, right? This is going to change in 2 years anyway.
We give a damn for this season.
Tim, hold on real quick. Texas. If Texas loses to A&M, yes, they're 10-2. Texas's schedule is dog poo. I mean, seriously. If you kind of look at this, it almost feels like they just did whatever whatever the original poll was in August. They've kind of just kept it. And it's like, are they really? I mean, who
do you think they're just following the polls that existed already?
Exactly. I mean, it's like Texas. Texas has played one good team, Georgia, and they got spanked. Everyone else they've played is average as sin. their best win is Vandy, and they're not even ranked. So, there we go. Update.
I talked about the whole Jay Billis thing about like, it like a 2-loss team in college football, you really can't be upset that you're not in, but like you lost 2 games. But man, just looking at some of this, Tim, it's like this could get really tricky. I feel like, look, Tim, before you mentioned this before we hit live, right? We haven't really dove into this. Like this is our first time really breaking this down, Tim. I feel like as this discussion's gone on, if you're Notre Dame, you would kind of like that top 5 to just stay intact. Miami,
yes,
beat
yes.
SMU.
Yes.
Hey, Georgia, please beat Ole Miss. Like
yes.
Indiana, please beat or Ohio State, please beat Indiana. Like we want the top 5 to stay, and then we get into the 6 through 9. Nice. Penn State.
They're not losing.
They're not losing. I mean, unless they got Washington. That's their most difficult game. Washington at home. They got Washington at Purdue, at Minnesota. Maybe Minnesota could give them a run for their money, but
where's that game out? Where's that game out? Because Minnesota's pretty tough.
At Minnesota on the 23rd.
Come on, Gophers, row the boat, baby, row it.
And then they have Maryland, BYU, undefeated BYU at Utah this weekend.
Yes, the Holy War this weekend.
Kansas.
They'll kill Kansas.
At Arizona State, and they host Houston.
You didn't hear me, did you?
No, I didn't. What'd you say?
I said they'll beat Kansas, even though they have a top 5 head coach, right?
I've never loved you as much in this moment.
I was setting you up, Mike.
I thought it. AB10, if you're watching, bro, Lance Leipold, I'm sorry, is not a freaking top 5 head coach in college football.
I set you up.
Vindication. Okay.
And you still got Colorado, which someone just said, which is so true. They mentioned Colorado's ranked for crying out loud. So, I mean, Colorado, could win out, and they could go to how about that freaking Hail Mary against Baylor? That is what's kept them alive.
So Colorado, there's a Big 12 championship game. Yeah, so it would be Colorado BYU.
Yeah, Colorado could go. That's why I think the Big 12 is only going to get 1. The ACC could get 2 if SMU pulls an upset. Notre Dame is in at 11-1, even with the most atrocious loss, but they're in. That's why I don't think they will go past 8. I just
I think
they will go past 8.
Yeah. I mean, you have that group of 5 team, and that's in there no matter what, but it's like there is a scenario where Notre Dame, drops to 11. I don't think is like too unrealistic, but if all hell breaks loose, but I mean, this is like a parlay of like plus 6,000. I do think, Tim, there could potentially be, if like A&M and Louisville fall off a cliff and some of these other teams, upsets happen, and you're choosing between a Notre Dame team who doesn't have a ranked win.
I agree.
And an NIU loss at 11-1. It's unlikely. I want to pull this chat up real quick. Just Joking 7 said, is Notre Dame in if they went out? It would have to be like 95% that the answer is yes. That's what I would say to this.
They're not going to knock Notre Dame out as an 11-1 team.
Yeah.
It's no.
Yeah. And so moving on, Indiana, I just want to go through these schedules real quick. We talked about this. They host Michigan this weekend, and then they go to Ohio State the 23rd, and then they get Purdue, Tennessee. I'll just keep this up on the screen. The 7 seed, number 7 overall. We haven't even looked at the bracketology specifically yet. Host Mississippi State, goes to Georgia. So you're really pulling for Georgia to beat Ole Miss, beat Tennessee. Like I said, I think you really want these top 5 teams to just stay status quo.
Exactly.
Then Tennessee gets UTEP and Vanderbilt. Interesting. Ole Miss we talked about. They host Georgia, go to Florida. Maybe Lane Kiffin's future, at the Lane Kiffin Bowl. There's a lot of rumors that Lane Kiffin could go to Florida. And then the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. And then real quick, SMU, they got Boston College, Virginia, Cal.
Yeah.
So
they're going to the ACC title game unless they don't show up, one day.
Yeah.
When you're that close, you're going to get that hungry. I mean, my God, they were a group of 5 team last year. SMU, right? This is their first year moving up. I'm telling you, and one last wild card is a massive, massive bonus for the Irish. It's A&M.
Yeah.
A&M beats Texas. Now, they have a bye this week. Then they got the mighty New Mexicos, who they'll beat New Mexico State at Auburn. Does Auburn even field the team this year? They're so bad. Deuce Knight will probably be there watching, but that's all they have going on is him in the stands. How bad is that team this year? Seriously.
Hey, can we get just one extra bowl game, Auburn, FSU?
What does Deuce Knight do go to those games? Is he having a good time watching that football? Like, man, that's damn good ball. I can't wait to play it here. It's like, come on. But anyway, right? Anyway, that's come and gone. And then they host Texas. They beat the Horkins. They beat the Longhorns there. A&M is in the SEC title game. They're in because they have the tiebreaker over LSU, and there's someone else they have a tiebreaker over. I forget who it is, but they're in the damn championship game. How crazy is that? That's awesome for A&M. So root for them. So we want those guys. What if Texas blows out A&M? Oh, who cares? A&M's then 9-3 and going to the January 1st SEC Gator Bowl or whatever they have. So, but there are some fun ones, and there is one more. SMU, no, who else? It was A&M. Damn it. But no, real quick on Notre Dame. They're 10. They're going to be that 10-8 window. I do not see them jumping up because because someone else is going to jump Notre Dame somewhere. I know people just assume, well, Indiana loses to Ohio State, Notre Dame's got to jump them. No, they don't.
Yeah,
because they're 11-1 with one loss to the Big Ten champ, let's say, or they're the number 2 team or 1 seed, whatever the hell they finish at the end of the year if they come back and beat Oregon. So I think Indiana's in, man, which is not.
There are
at 11-1.
Yeah. Missouri, we're not really going to count for this, but other than Missouri, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 SEC teams with 1 or 2 losses that could vie for the playoff.
So 7 going to 16, man. It is going to be nuts.
Georgia, A&M, Tennessee, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama. So Alabama is right behind Notre Dame, and Bama. Tim, if they win out, we're really going to learn a lot about how the committee.
Yeah, Bama wins out. They're in it now. They're 10-2. They're in the playoffs.
But do they pass Notre Dame? Like you talked about this earlier with Tennessee. 2-loss team in the SEC versus Notre Dame. How does the committee view it? Because Bama, if they beat LSU, Mercer, Oklahoma, Auburn.
Yeah, that schedule's not good, obviously, but it's like, they get the mighty Mercers
at LSU.
Excuse me, but Notre Dame's ahead of them now, so they kind of can they jump them? Sure, they can, because the game's in Baton Rouge, and the fighting Brian Kelly's has never lost at night. He's undefeated at night since he's been at LSU. So, with a win over number 1 Bama. So that's going to be a biggie, obviously, next Saturday, or this coming Saturday, excuse me. So does that win leapfrog Notre Dame? Hell yeah, they can leapfrog them because it's the SEC. They could do that in a heartbeat. But the fact that they have them ahead right now,
it's a good sign.
I think they could go 8. Bama might just drop, move up to 9 in the final. I'm just throwing out the final poll, let's say. But that's why Notre Dame's got to boat race these teams. Notre Dame can't turn into 2015 Irish. Yeah. When Denbrock and all those guys in 15, where they only beat BC 1916. You can't have one of those games. You got to go to these guys.
Yeah, good point. Goolsby always talks about style points matter. And for me, I'm much more like, dude, just win. All right, just winning matters. But when every little thing counts here,
it all counts.
Yeah,
FSU is
Notre Dame's gotta.
Yeah, hold on. FSU is 1-8. They've scored 20 points once this year. You cannot beat FSU 31-22 this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your ass is like, what the hell did you do?
You got to prove to the committee, because here's the thing. There's 12 teams in this, but there's really just 11 spots for Notre Dame, right? Because one of them is group of 5, so that's gone. You have 1 spot of cushion. 1.
And that group of 5, Boise State's only loss is by a couple of points at Oregon. So that's their 1 loss when comparing them to Notre Dame. You know what I mean? So they don't have an A&M win on their resume, of course, but still, you start comparing one loss.
Am I sounding like a Debbie Downer, doom and gloom guy? If I am, I
you are, because
apologize.
Notre Dame is in. Okay, as long as they don't go NIU and Marshall here down the road, they are in. Okay, at 11-1, they're in. I've said it. Day one, they're going to have an 8-9 game. 8-9 Alabama. Let's sign up for it right now. Alabama upsets the Brian Kelly gang. It's going to be 8-9. Me personally, I think the committee is going to they're going to make it. Watch those dudes make it Notre Dame, Indiana, that first game, because Indiana loses to Ohio State, make that an 8-9 game.
So the rankings are the rankings, but then there's the bracket, which is different. Like, right, you have Penn State's number 6, but they're the number 7 in this because BYU jumps them and gets the first round bye because they would be a conference champ in this scenario. So looking at no more bracketology per Andy Staples or Ari Wasserman. It's now the college football playoffs seeding, right? So you got Oregon's the 1, Georgia 2, Miami 3, BYU the 4. Here's your 4 highest ranked conference champions. Tim, you have any idea what would happen if Boise were ranked higher than like the Big 12 champ? I'm curious.
Well, it's the 4 highest once again. So the 4
right. So is there no group of there? So then that would open up a 12, right? Because I just said, right, you remove one of them for the group of 5 spots. But if Boise were to go into that
5, yeah, exactly. Just real quick, I mean, it's the five conference champions. The 5 highest ranked conference champions are in. But if a group of 5, if Boise State's ranked ahead of BYU, Boise gets the 4 seed, and then BYU could be the 12.
Thank you. Okay, that's what I messed up.
Boise can be a 4 seed.
The 4 highest ranked conference champs get the buys, but it's the 5 highest ranked conference champs that get in.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I messed that up. Okay, so anyways, so you got Ohio State, Boise State, if the season ended right now, in the 5-12, Tennessee hosting Indiana, Texas hosting Bama.
Oh, man.
Notre Dame hosting, or excuse me, Penn State hosting Notre Dame, with the winner playing Georgia. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, we've been talking. I think we've mentioned Penn State, Notre Dame 3 weeks in a row. I keep saying that's going to be the 8-9 game. That's just been, but I've been stuck on. I'm a little, I'm with 99% of the fans. I get the Penn State thing because, like I said, all their numbers are really strong. Their strength of schedule is way better than Notre Dame's. But they're not. I mean, they're going to finish this year 11-1 with 0 ranked wins, 0. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how that doesn't matter at the end. That's why I'm saying this initial poll just feels like, hey, what was the AP poll in August? Who's lost? All right, let's adjust it from there. That's what it kind of feels like. So did these guys dive into some of these numbers, get deep in there and be like, yeah, that's a weak Penn State team. They should not have a home game. You know what I mean? So I was a little surprised by that thing. Tennessee, I understand. Tennessee, Indiana would be awesome. Ohio State, obviously, and Boise. No, the big game. I mean, Notre Dame, Penn State would be unbelievable. I'm telling you, whoever Notre Dame plays, if it ends this way, that's going to be the Friday night game. Notre Dame's going to play that Friday night. I'm put that on FanDuel or whatever the hell it is, Odd Shark or whatever, and that's going to be the odds. They're playing that Friday night, prime time, under the lights.
I agree.
Only game in town because they're going to want the audience times 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be Notre Dame, Penn State, or I bet you it's going to be Notre Dame, Alabama.
Of these 4, I would argue that is the marquee. Right, your Tennessee, Indiana, Ohio State, Boise, Texas, Bama. Notre Dame, Penn State is the marquee standalone game because, look, Texas, Bama, we see that, right? Yes. But Penn State, Notre Dame, that would be electric.
110,000 people going nuts. Horrible offense. Notre Dame's defense, 2 11-1 football teams. Oh my! Seriously, it'd be a freak show. Awesome. I think Notre Dame could definitely go in there because Penn State for. I mean, who's their best? I mean, Penn State basically 2022 Notre Dame. They have a tight end. They're building their offense around a tight end. The guy plays 17 positions.
Yeah,
Motions. He's Michael Mayer in 2022. So he's a stud. He's all over the place. But that's their offense. Is that guy?
Let's say Notre Dame sticks in the 10, Tim. And you look at these teams that they could play that would host playoff game. Do any of them like is like, oh man, you don't want to play at that place specifically. Like,
well, no matter what, I mean, if they're staying 10, yeah, I mean, it means you're going on a road.
yeah,
So,
but
do you want
if they go to Indiana, it's like, okay, I wouldn't mind going to Indiana, but what teams are you like? Oh, I don't want to go there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to go to Austin. You know, I mean, Texas has got athletes all over the place. That place would be crazy. I mean, seriously, God, it's like,
are you really worried about like Penn State is Penn State?
No, you're not worried about that. I mean, Notre Dame could win a 7-10 matchup. Notre Dame could win the 8-9 matchup.
They just beat A&M at A&M. Like they know an environment.
I mean,
environment.
Even if Tennessee, they lose to Georgia, but they have an amazing, numbers, all that good BS, and they get the 7 seed, let's say. Or let's say they're the 8. Tennessee's the 8, Notre Dame's the 9. You go to Rocky Top, yeah, they could go beat Tennessee. It's going to be a defensive war because Tennessee's defense is freakish. It's unbelievable. So, and their offense struggles. So can Notre Dame win a 17, 16, 20? It'd be like A&M game 1.
Sure.
Basically. It'd just be like the A&M game again. A slugfest, goes all the way down until somebody makes one mistake and Notre Dame has the great drive against A&M. So, yeah, there's no one you really fear, Not even Texas. Texas has great athletes, but I think their D could scheme up really good with those guys.
Yeah. I agree. Defense travels, so that makes you feel
good. The matchup, just real quick on that, that's a great question because the matchup to me, I mean, come on, it's always going to be who are the DBs Notre Dame has to play against, right? Does Notre Dame, can Bo Collins, beat somebody one-on-one? Because I don't know who else can in that Notre Dame wide receiver unit. That's my first opinion. Secondly is the D lines. Some of these D lines they're going to play against are insane. They're damn good. So not that Notre Dame's a sieve. Those guys are getting better and they're, coming along. And as long, knock on wood here, you got no more injuries. They just keep getting better. Have a whole month, another game together, and they had a bye. So they'll be together 6 straight weeks, a week of practice, seven weeks going into that game. It's a lot of experience that they've played together. So that would be good. But my only concern would just be what D line, because some of these D lines that they could play against are freakish. If you want a Notre Dame win, if you want to guarantee, seriously, man, let's go to Bloomington. Let's give Indiana, you could be 8. We're going to take a bus trip down to you and let's play the 8-9 game in Bloomington.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel if this is your first time tuning in to one of our shows. We do these shows every single Tuesday. So this show is a bracketology show, and now we're kind of continuing on every Tuesday night. I liked that move from Wednesday to Tuesday, Tim. This is definitely making this show's really fun. And yeah, in the past couple years, I guess we've been doing this weekly show for 3 years now, and we haven't really seen a Notre Dame team in this kind of hunt, right? Obviously you had the 12-team expansion. That was a big deal, but I don't know. It just, this season, this has been fun. Tim, hold that thought real quick. Let's talk about Gametime, a fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with fantastic last-minute ticket deals. So you can relax, just get hyped for that fun that you are going to have. The website, super easy to manage. Gametime has all sorts of neat features. Let's talk about some of them. Got Gametime Picks, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't got to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It's going to just, again, filter out that fluff. You got the all-in pricing. When you toggle on this feature, it's going to show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can check out seat views in the app to get a panoramic view of where you'll be sitting in the app before you buy again. So lowest price, folks, guaranteed. That's all what Gametime's going to preach. You're going to get the lowest price guaranteed, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, use the promo code ON3. That's ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account, download that app, and redeem the code ON3. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Do you want to continue that thought, Tim?
No, you're good. You're good.
Justin ND Troll Sniper said, we'd be top 5 if we were 8-0. I will take that a step
They'll be number
further.
Yeah. ND would be, my humble opinion, would be second in the polls right now.
I was going to say 2.
Yeah, they would be 2 in the polls, 5 in the bracket because they can't get a home game. But,
yes.
They would be number 2, undefeated Notre Dame at 8-0.
Yeah, because you're putting them over Ohio State and Georgia.
Yeah.
And Miami, like, they're an ugly 8-0, dude. They're an ugly 8-0.
Well, they're going to go 12-0. I mean, let's just say it. They're going to go 12-0 with no ranked wins either. So that's the thing. When you look at people can be all up in arms with Indiana, BYU, but at the end of the day, you're undefeated. If Notre Dame was undefeated, we would all be bitching up a storm if they weren't number 2 right now. So because undefeateds do matter. I think the committee, as we see by this poll, definitely takes that into account with all this. So yeah, Notre Dame is definitely, they would be number freaking 2, man. Can you believe that? What did they start? Where were they? Number 7. They went to A&M 7, give up the most amazing, freakish 90-yard pass play at Notre Dame Stadium history in that first drive by NIU. And then Riley Leonard's got the broken shoulder, can't throw the ball 18 yards as he's trying to throw it 50. The worst pass, the worst pass I've ever seen in Notre Dame Stadium. Son of a bitch, man. You would be number 2 chilling right now.
Could you imagine the national, fans would be so outraged. The national media and the fans. Notre Dame number 2. Oh, man. And then, you're sitting at the 5-12. I'm personally one of those guys, Tim. This has just kind of been a gut thing of just growing up watching football. Like in the NFL, the teams that get the first round bye, and then you get that hot wild card team. A lot of times that hot wild card team would go and beat the team who got the first round bye. Like sometimes you don't want to sit. I like if Notre Dame were 2 right now, I would like them being the 5 and getting to play Boise.
Oh, yeah.
I personally would like that, a home playoff game in that weather. Oh man, I'm really hoping Notre Dame gets to 8. I'm really hoping they do host a game. That'd be great.
Yeah, one of the worst. I mean, just an atrocious loss. But at the same time, we mentioned this last week. Like, if Freeman's able to go 11-1 after that atrocious loss, that's a 10-game winning streak by Freeman and the crew. 10-game winning streak to end this season. That would be unbelievable. That's an awesome accomplishment to regroup, refocus. You have all these old guys. They're like, damn it, we lost to NIU. We're not getting in. To hell with this season. Prep for the NFL. Instead, man, they have rallied their ass. They have. They've rallied their asses off. They're playing damn good football. Riley Leonard, as I've said 1,000 times, he was 84th in quarterback ranking after NIU. He's like 15th now. So that tells you the improvement he's making. This team's made. So Notre Dame, man, if they close out strong, Etsy's has a quarterback change, go kick the crap out of them in the Coliseum, finish this thing 11-1. I'm telling you, there's no reason to, we're going to see them playing in the Sugar Bowl or Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl in that second round.
Yeah. You got to wonder, I guess you're talking about Notre Dame rallying, and they could have just they could have thrown in the towel.
Yep.
How about how much of them rallying is due to, hey, we still can win a national championship? It's not like, hey, now we're playing for, the Pop-Tarts, as you always say. But no, in your normal or your traditional 14 playoff that we had for 9 years or whatever, you're still probably out of that. So it's like, it's Rose Bowl or Sugar Bowl.
Exactly. Just to even go off of that, Mike, is back in the last 10 years or the last 20, excuse me. You would lose a game like this, and you're like, all right, guys, we have to rally to get to the Fiesta Bowl. We got to get to that BCS bowl game, which was cool. Those things mattered. They don't for Notre Dame because they lose them all the time, but they mattered as fans, right?
That was actually Tim Hyde. Sorry, Mark with glasses comment. That was Tim Hyde, not Sweaty Mark.
Exactly. We won the title. So you beat Michigan. The Michigan was the championship game?
Yeah, we blew them out. You blew them out. Yeah, it was 52-28.
I thought it was Oregon. Oregon was the Final Four game. That was the semis, right? Yeah. Yeah, that was Oregon. Okay, gotcha. But no, but now you're right, Mike. You lose, regroup, refocus, handle business, and they definitely have done that. As we knock on wood, they've done it to this point, right? So, but I think, me personally, I think this team's hungry. I think they're going to play with a lot of fire, a lot of energy. And I mean, you got 2 straight games at home, right? 2 straight games at home, kick ass, regroup, back-to-back road trips, and go handle business.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for folks watching or listening to the podcast. Yeah, this is some highlights from your national championship win, Tim.
After the season, when we have one of those dull Tuesdays in February, Mark with glasses needs to fix my video, but that's my edit on my body, but that's okay.
Brand Payne running for a touchdon.
Oh, he's playing this year. Hey, welcome back, Payne. There you go. I didn't know
he didn't get injured in the game. A little touchdown out to Raritan. Just a dime from the best quarterback in the country. Yeah, I went all greens. Just because I knew my viewers would get ticked.
Harbaugh all whites on the road. Harbaugh did that for years, so there you go. I like it.
So,
hey, let's just win out. Let's get ready for Saturday. We'll see everyone at midnight after NBC does their 1,000 commercials because it's Notre Dame's only night game this year, so expect a 4-hour game. And let's just Notre Dame needs to beat the living crap out of them, like when FSU shut out ND in 2003. That was one of the worst ND teams, but they just destroyed them. So they got to spank the hell out of them. Like I said, common opponent with SMU, who's hovering right there. So those things matter when you start getting in pods. And that's the other thing real quick on these committees. They've talked about this in the past is they pod teams of groups of 3. They take 3 teams together and they break them all down and branch them out from there. So that's going to your point with Alabama, Notre Dame, Alabama. Who else? Who is the 9, Mike? Indiana? Yes. Tennessee was 8. So those were all potted together. Indiana's undefeated. They gave them the benefit of the doubt. That's what I bet they did.
So, yeah, just thoughts on, we're looking down the line. But in terms of Notre Dame, FSU, you can – is there any level of concern? Notre Dame's like a 4-touchdown favorite. My thought when I went on a Florida State show today, and I was like, the only reason for concern I would have is if Notre Dame starts slow and FSU gets some confidence and those guys kind of wake up. Otherwise, if Notre Dame punches them in the mouth, I just don't see FSU being able to recover from that. I feel like Notre Dame will just kind of roll.
Please let that happen. No, I mean, that's what's happened to them this season. I mean, it's going to go down as one of the worst top 10 preseason, top 10 teams in the history of college football. I mean, legitimately. I mean, I don't know who they have left. I mean, they have the Gators. Hopefully the Gators have a healthy quarterback. DJ Lagway is unbelievable. So, but I know he's banged up. So speaking of that, man, Florida is so damn close to being like the giant killers this year. Georgia, Tennessee, they had both of them on the ropes. Georgia's like a play away from just knocking people out. And, kudos for them for hanging on with that freaking schedule they have. But I mean, they got to handle, and they got to just destroy Florida State. It's a hype game, recruiting game, night game. It's the only one this year. They've had a bye. Make it a damn Super Bowl. Don't come into this thing like, oh, let's just chill. We know no. It's still Florida State, right? If they think that it's still Florida State, we go handle business. That's what they got to do.
FSU. Just imagine hearing this 20 years ago, Tim. Dude, FSU is the number 16 team in the ACC.
They are ranked. They are like Stanford when they played Stanford a couple years ago. They were ranked 100s in almost everything. And so many there are hundreds. It's like I've never seen this from Florida State. And it's not like they don't have guys. They got NFL dudes on defense, which is just unless they're just playing, they don't even give a rat's ass about anything. So whatever happened this year with Norvell, I don't know if you guys ever saw that. There was a couple losses early in the year, and Mike Norvell was trying to run with the guys, and they showed a video of like last year, the whole team's running with them. You know, he's racing them on a sprint. This year, man, no one ran. It's him. He turns around and no one's behind him. They're all just jogging. I'm like, yeah, you're done. You're done.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on a recent show. That guy just signed that like 10-year extension. Jeez. These losses are so bad. And how bad is Cal? Right. Oh, I mean,
Cal almost beat Miami. Cal, that quarterback gets hit in the head. It should have been a penalty. Game over, right? Game over. Cal runs out the clock. Instead, Cal has to give him the ball because they didn't call a penalty. And Miami goes right down the field and scores. Miami's is the luckiest 12-0 team.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone said Georgia Tech could beat them. Haynes, they don't even have a quarterback, so I don't think Georgia Tech's won a game since they played Notre Dame. So I wouldn't expect that.
All right, we are going to end the show there. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video if you haven't done so yet. If you're just joining us recently, scroll to the beginning, hit that rewind, and check out what we had to say from the top of the show. Let's see, Tim. We will record our FSU preview Thursday night. We'll post that Friday around lunchtime, and then we'll go live Saturday night, Thursday morning. Today? Thursday morning, I'll have my recruiting show with Kyle. We'll preview the FSU weekend, which got a lot bigger, in the past few days in terms of just how and just crucial this recruiting weekend is for the Irish. So you're definitely going to be there Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Goolsby show Sunday, likely 8 p.m. Eastern time. So really appreciate you all for watching. And as always, we will catch you next time.